Hello everyone. Assalamualaikum and welcome back to Stop It Now podcast. I'm Huda Raza, your host again for today, and you are listening to another episode of
Podcorn. This podcast is brought to you by MC2424A, IPRMSA, UITM, Malacca Chapter.
This is a podcast series of gender equality. Welcome back to everyone who listened since the first episode, and welcome to the new listeners. Before we started, I would like to give a warning to everyone that in this podcast, we will be discussing about a pretty traumatic thing that has been happening all around the world about sexual harassment. So please be aware if you are worried that it might be triggering for you. Before I start with our main topic, which is sexual harassment, I would like to define what is gender equality and what is sexual harassment. Firstly, gender equality. When we talk about gender equality, it means that people of all genders should have equal chances, rights, and responsibilities. Gender inequality impacts everyone, including men, women, transgender, gender non-conforming individuals, kids, and families. People of all ages and ethnicities are also affected. Next, sexual harassment. What is sexual harassment? Sexual harassment is unwanted, unpleasant, embarrassing, or threatening behavior, including explicit content. It can occur in real life or via the internet, whether written, verbal, or physical. Sexual harassment can happen to anyone, regardless of gender. Sexual harassment may qualify as discrimination if it occurs in a place of employment, a school, or a university. This issue is not about men or women. It is about all people that should be treated equally and with full respect. In Malaysia, sexual harassment is a serious issue that affects many people in our society, including the workplace, educational institutions, and public areas. According to research by Suryati 2014, it stated, statistic by Royal Malaysian Police, PDRM, sexual harassment cases include obscene and rape acts. In 2012 and 2013, there were 75 cases involving employers and 156 cases involving co-workers. Sexual harassment still affects many people, especially women, despite the recent implementation of legislation and regulations to combat the issue. However, while most sexual harassment cases involve female victims, 21.1% of those targeted are male. Hannah Yeoh, a former Deputy Minister for Women, Family and Community Development, stated that data from the Royal Malaysian Police (PDRM) from 2013 to 2017 showed that 257 males had reported experiencing sexual harassment at work. Out of the remaining 961 cases, there were 1,218 cases with female victims. Sexual harassment has not only been going on in public, but also on the internet, especially nowadays. We live in an era where social media has become the number one before anything. According to journalist Farah Fazlinda Muhammad, in 2022, Malaysia has one of the highest of Southeast Asia's internet penetration rates. Malaysia currently has 30.25 million active social media users. These statistics showed increased social media users, which can be viewed as a blessing in disguise for Malaysia. A growing number of sexual harassment cases in Malaysia is one of the severe consequences. To be clear again, as I said before, victims of sexual harassment are not solely women. Men can also be harassed. In Malaysia, the sexualization of men on social media is a complex issue that has gained traction in recent years. While media sexualization of women is more prevalent, men are not immune to these harmful and objectifying stereotypes. One of the examples that we can see men being sexually harassed on social media is on Instagram and TikTok platforms. The issue is when these accounts feature photographs of handsome young men accompanied by captions that objectify and sexualize them by some other women. These images can keep damaging masculinity stereotypes and contribute to a culture that normalizes men's sexualization. There are a lot of factors why sexual harassment may happen around the world, and one of them is the lack of awareness and understanding of what sexual harassment is. Even though many still think the term sexual harassment itself solely refers to physical contact or attack, it can also refer to verbal abuse, unwelcome approaches, and other actions that foster an intimidating or hostile environment. Despite a lack of awareness, gender inequality was also negatively correlated with women's and men's non-contact unwanted sexual experiences. Sexual harassment is frequently established in power imbalances between men and women, making gender inequality a crucial factor in the sexual harassment issue. Studies reveal that women are more likely than men to experience sexual harassment in public. This can be attributed to several factors, including societal norms, reinforcing gender stereotypes, and a culture of victim blaming and impunity. A culture of victim blaming and impunity can make it difficult for women to report sexual harassment incidents or to receive support and justice when they do. When women report sexual harassment, they may fear retaliation or backlash from their harassers and may encounter skepticism or disbelief. It is vital to resolve gender inequality to prevent and respond to sexual harassment effectively. This may involve promoting gender equality, implementing policies and procedures to prevent sexual harassment and safeguard victims, and providing the public with training and education on sexual harassment and gender equality. Furthermore, it is essential to combat negative stereotypes and attitudes that contribute to gender inequality and to promote a culture of respect, dignity, and equality for all individuals. The burden of resolving the problem of sexual harassment is quite heavy because we cannot expect this problem to be resolved overnight, as it has been going on for a long time and requires a lengthy governance system that includes the police and the legal system, which are interconnected. Now, let us listen to the audio of our former Deputy Minister for Women, Family and Community Development, Hannah Yeoh, during an interview with The Star TV. Let's hear what she says about the law against sexual harassment.
There are two acts that our Kementerian have answered. One is on sexual harassment, one is on gender equality. This one, they are at the stage where they are thinking and looking into, they are looking at consultation. I know the sexual harassment one has been talking about it for some time, but now with the new case involving Kementerian Kesihatan, with Dr. Zul, the hospital case, we feel that there's definitely a sense of urgency to quickly legislate on sexual harassment. But if you ask me whether there's any current law to deal with it, there are current legislation under the Penal Code, okay, and also under the public service, we have a Pekeliling. Okay, that tells them what to do if you are sexually harassed, who you can report to. And I've given the statistics, 6 people have been thrown, they're out of job. We have given that, and obviously there is the mechanism. I think in this particular case, it's about who covered up, because the victims say they have reported to the authority, but no action. So now we are looking into that, and there's one committee formed by Dr. Zul. My Kementerian have 2 representatives that we have requested to sit there to monitor on behalf of the victims. Okay, so that is for sexual harassment. For gender equality, it's not just about gender equality, but we are also looking at the anti-discrimination part. Not just on gender, but if you discriminate people on other grounds, we are looking into merging that. But for the gender equality one, they are doing consultation. The next step is to consult with the religious authorities. Okay, because there are certain cultural practices in Malaysia, according to the culture, may look like is gender inequality. Okay, for example, how you distribute assets among sons and women and daughters, that kind of thing. So the next step is they are going to engage the religious authorities to discuss this.
In In July 2022, Dewan Rakyat voted to pass a bill to enact laws to protect both men and women against sexual harassment. To quote the Women, Family and Community Development Minister during the time, Datuk Seri Rina Harun, mentioned that the law is for all Malaysians and is a manifestation of the commitment of the government to prevent sexual harassment among the genders. Under the law, those convicted of sexual harassment face up to 250,000 Malaysian ringgit in restitution to their victims or 2 years in prison. If sexual harassment occurs in public, the perpetrators must issue a public apology. It is important to recognize that achieving gender equality and stopping sexual harassment is a long-term process that requires sustained effort and commitment. Gender equality and cancelling sexual harassment require a multi-phase approach that includes policy changes, education and awareness raising, and cultural adjustments. Implementing laws and regulations that may provide explicit definitions of the offence, reporting processes, and punishments for offenders can help prevent sexual harassment. No country in the world can yet achieve gender equality up until today, but we can together take action towards achieving it. Whether you are a victim or a witness of sexual harassment, you must report the incidents and do something about it. If you are a victim of sexual harassment, it doesn't matter if you are a man or a woman, here are some steps that you can take. Firstly, you should talk to someone that you can trust about the issue. And the next step is to file a police report so that you have proper justice with proper documentation to sue the perpetrators. For women, the last thing you can do is by reaching out to organizations such as the All Women's Action Society so that they can advise you further. All you need to do is speak up and take action about the issue, as it is not a small matter and will affect your physical and mental well-being. It is important for you to let someone know about your problem, as this issue is a very serious issue. Therefore, we can encourage the public to take action together to end the sexual harassment issue in society by taking a comprehensive strategy that engages and empowers people, raises awareness, and provides support for victims. So that is all for today's episode of Stop It Now. Thank you for listening to this podcast, and don't forget to subscribe for the upcoming topic and issue discussed here in
Podcorn.
Brought to you by MC2424A, IPRMSA, UITM Malacca Chapter. Until then, bye bye everyone. Assalamualaikum.